Hello, Scott.
Hello, good morning, John.
Everybody.
Nancy Jean.
I'm here.
You want to give us an update what you've been chilling out and doing, Mr. Sean?
So it's been a minute since I've been on your show. I was in Wisconsin working on that Supreme Court race. I was a stone's throw away from Elon Musk, and I did not throw any stones because I behaved. And apparently we goosed him so hard in Wisconsin, he's dropped out of politics. So you're welcome, planet Earth. But it was great. Normally they call the Supreme Court race in Wisconsin. It was in April 1st, April Fool's Day. Normally they call that race around 11:30 at night. We did such a bang up job. They called that at 8:30 in the evening. And the political director for the SEIU Wisconsin called me up almost crying. He'd never seen anything like it. We were in Green Bay, Milwaukee, and Racine, and then there was another group in Madison, and there was some other people operating Sheboygan and Kenosha. I know more about the geography of Wisconsin than any Texan should.
And Scott knows a lot about Texas. He doesn't.
But it was really just an amazing cycle. We really were only on the ground for 27 days. The team in Green Bay knocked on over 20,000 doors in that time, which is good, especially for the size team we had. We were also we're kind of my team subcontracted. I was the data director for the state, but my field component of my team, because of the work we'd done in 24, they asked us if we wouldn't mind using Green Bay as a test study for our program, which is different from the program they had been running in the past. And we were like, absolutely, we'd love the opportunity. So when we wrapped up our program, we had twice the contact rate per canvasser. We had a better contact rate. We knocked on more doors and fewer shifts. So basically every measurable metric, Green Bay outperformed the status quo. And then on top of all that, Green Bay outperformed itself by like 4 or 5 points. And in my business, that's like winning a football game by 60 points. It's ridiculous. Like 2 points and you're like, woo!
That's really moving.
And you're just like, we're geniuses. Yeah. So it was really just an incredible opportunity. We got an opportunity to prove our methodology and, stuff that actually Nancy in her previous life and I worked on at great length.
Thank you, Carrie. Thank you for your contribution.
And so it was really an amazing event, and no one thought we could do it, which those are my favorite races to win because I'm a Texan, and well, most times they don't think we can do it down here either. So, but I really do enjoy winning those races that no one else thinks can be won, because it really can be won. It's just you've got to. I mean, I don't know if any of your viewers have ever seen the movie Moneyball. You kind of have to moneyball the election. You got to find out you're just because you send out 500,000 pieces of mail doesn't mean you're getting votes. It's not a thing. So votes are people talking to people and following up with those people and making sure those people, continue to be engaged. That's how you get votes. That's why when I look at what the DNC is doing right now, which they're kind of going heavy into this text / social media / they call it relational organizing metrics. Anyway, they're just trying to replace field. And they tried to replace field with phones. They tried to replace field with mail. And the entire time field's still here. You're still knocking on doors. It is the best way to talk to voters. But you also have to have educated, well-trained canvassers, because they're the front line. They're where the grinder hits the meat. That's where the real action is. And candidates can do a lot. Media can do a lot, but they can't do everything. And at the end of the day, if you've walked the community, you've talked to the community, you know where that community's at. And that's what my team does. And that's what we did in Wisconsin. And it really, really it performed better than our predictions, which I love being wrong in that direction. Oh, I'll be wrong that way all day long. I love that. But but that's kind of what we've been up to. And since then, we've got a new Democratic Party chair in Texas. I went to an event that he was at just so I could meet a Democratic Party chair that was younger than me. And that was the first time in in my life. So he's a millennial. He's got new ideas, new energy. He's not afraid to get on conservative radio and put those guys. I mean, the Democrats are, why are we losing in rural Texas? I'm like, because you let Rush Limbaugh manage the message for 40 years. You can't unwind that in a cycle. You can't unwind that in 2 cycles. It's a lot of work to get that undone. And everyone's looking for the fast, quick way. And there's nothing quick or fast. It's just hard work. So I think this TDP chair gets it.
Rose Blue says, we can do it here in Texas if Republicans stop tossing out votes and people off the voter rolls. Those are 2 ways. The other way, Rose, is if Democrats get off their ass and understand that they can win. There is a problem here of having so much small Texas town identity tied to team politics, to team sports. You know, people want to vote with the winner. And here they don't ever hear that. What was it the guy was talking about that?
Oh, we don't have there's 9,000 precincts in Texas, and we are in 4,500 of them. We can't be expected to do anything if you don't have a ground game. We're 20% of the counties in Texas don't have a county chair for the Democratic Party. You can't expect people to vote for you if you're not even willing to put an organization in their own county, much less even the precinct level. So there's just a lot of places where that's why I always remind everyone, it's this state in 2020, more people voted for Biden in Texas than voted for Biden in New York. You know, that's a little fun fact I like to throw in those Yankees faces sometimes. Also, when we're talking about how to organize and run, well, you have to have a ground game. You have to have somebody. The house can't be empty. You know, you got to have somebody there. So the new TDP chair is all about putting a county chair in every county and trying to get precinct chairs in every precinct, which I think would be the first time probably in my lifetime. And it's the first step. It's not how we win. It's how we set up to win. And
that can be blown up nationwide. What did the Time magazine say? I love the
Time magazine article that came out today. 3 seconds.
Planned graphics here. Obviously, you do this show on the phone.
Well, this is the magazine. It's basically the same kind of flyer you have for lost animals. They have for the Democratic Party, and it says last seen November 4th, 2024. If found, contact. I looked up the number. It's the number to the DNC. So it's pretty funny. But the article inside is interesting. I'm going to do a show on it on my channel at CLSV Politics. Feel free to join. It talks about a lot of the stuff, Nancy, you and I have been talking about for a long time. But it really does break down the fact that the Republicans played the Democratic Party pretty solidly, because it's not like we weren't talking about economics. That's really all Harris ever talked about. But what the feeling was on the ground was that the Democratic Party was for the status quo, and the status quo is not working for America. Now, the Republican Party's for burning it all down. Well, if it's not working for you, what do you care if they burn it all down? So that's kind of, I think, the gist. And then, quite honestly, our party is about in Congress is almost 20 years older on average than the Republicans. Because people got to remember the Republicans, and I apologize, I'm not sweating. I ran through the rain to get to this show. The Republican Party cleared out a lot of their older members in 2010 2012, 2016. They've been really just cleaning out their and replacing with younger candidates. Keep in mind, we've lost 4 House members this cycle already. And that POS big beautiful nonsense bill passed by 1 vote.
I know.
That's the margin. The fact is that we've got candidates there that should have retired 15, 20 years ago, and they're still sitting there. So there's a lot of young Democratic electeds that are getting some grief because they put a $20 million PAC together to primary candidates over the age of 80 that are incumbents in safe districts. I don't blame them.
Hey, don't pick on people who are 80. I'm near that.
I know. But also, you're not in the House, Nancy. So,
oh, God, I would never run for anything, but that's
no.
right.
You're too smart. But yeah, it's like, and it's not like it's just like we can't afford to have you die in office. I mean, literally, people are going to die because we had candidates too old to live long enough to vote against that bill.
Mm-hmm. And they're young.
And then the Republican governors in these states where these seats are at, like I can speak on behalf of Texas, Hot Wheels isn't going to even put that election up until November. So we're not going to have a representative.
Hot Wheels, for those who don't know,
November.
Hot Wheels, for those who do not live in the state of Texas, is our governor.
Yes. Sorry.
We call him
I have zero respect for the guy. And yeah, I'm not making fun of his disability. I'm making fun of him.
Yeah.
Personally.
I'm fine with that.
Why are they dogging David Hogg?
Oh, because he's the guy. He's going after their entrenched incumbents in safe districts. These guys who, so the article goes into detail about these younger candidates. I mean, these younger electeds are not waiting in line.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're this whole seniority nonsense thing. Well, of course, these guys with low energy, no ideas, and they've been there for 30 years. Yeah, they got seniority on these committees that matter because they've been there forever. Also, the problem is they've been there forever. They can't relate to our voters. An 80-year-old cannot relate to the millennial voter. When they were 30, when they were 35, 50 something years ago, a house cost $20,000. You could buy a new car for $6,000. That's not the world that we live in now. Most of these millennials never own a home because the status quo is what the status quo is. It's unacceptable. And these guys have to go. I'm with Hogg. I'm with them because I'm sorry. I just watched a bill pass that if the Senate passes it, it's going to shut down rural hospitals. It's going to kill millions of people in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
Millions of people, Americans, not immigrants, not people that are here illegally. I'm talking about grandma. I also explained to a few people that you want to create some Democrats, have grandma move in with those millennials. Those millennials will turn Democrat real quick.
Scott, would we find that to be the truth? Although I live with my millennials, so
no, and David Hogg got in there because he survived the shooting. He actually in this article is quoted and admits that doing a litmus test on weapons was a mistake that he made. He takes full responsibility for that. And even though he's been shot at when he was in elementary school or high school.
And his classmate is in the Congress.
Right. So he understands that that's his issue. But the fact that they made that a litmus test, and I'll be honest, it's not one that's going to pass if you're a Democrat in Texas or really any of the southern hunting states. And it's really the hunters. But what's really interesting is all of the public land that these guys can go hunting on all of a sudden ain't going to be public no more, and a lot of the wildlife and all the different federal groups that maintain a lot of the fisheries and a lot of the hunting grounds, well, they're all being defunded and thrown to the wayside by the Republican Party. This is all stuff they're going to see, and well, in my opinion, we're not going to have a government by September. They're going to shut the government down because the Senate's going to throw the House bill back to the House. There's no way the House is going to pass that bill because it's going to take out all of their favorite little things.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be sitting here because they don't meet in August. We're going to be sitting here in September going, guess government got shut down.
Yeah.
Which honestly, I think is their plan from the beginning.
Rose Blue's true. All nursing homes are paid by Medicaid, 100, hundreds and thousands in the U.S. And Sean, you ran a race with a guy who was running in a primary for Congress in Central Texas.
In 2018, yeah.
2018. And you went to the nursing homes and the hospitals and said, look, if this passed, and that was Republicans being.
Well, that was when McCain saved the ACA.
Mm-hmm.
The director of the hospital we were talking to was flat out. They're like, if they get rid of the ACA, half of these people would, and these people are old and in hospice, will be on the street, like outside on the curb. And then about 2 months after that, the other half of what's left will be on the curb. And by that point, they'll have to shut everything down. Now everyone's on the curb.
That's where we were before Social Security.
Right. And no one remembers that, of course. So then that's why the memories are this long, and we're going to go right back to that. And what sucks is that it's that kind of level of pain that apparently seems necessary. I always remind people in Texas, Republicans get 21% of the registered voters. Democrats get 19% of the registered voters. The other 60% is the apathy vote, which dominates the voter universe here in Texas. You give me 3% of that apathy vote, there's no more Republican Party in the United States. Without Texas, they don't stand a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is, in Texas, you got to run 19 counties, a field program. Your campaign's $500 million because you got to operate in 19 counties. Some of those counties are over 1,000 miles apart. Effectively, from Texarkana to El Paso is 1/3 of the United States. The distance. Mm-hmm. So that's your state. That's where you're operating. The logistics are a nightmare, and it costs money. It's not. You can't mail, email, tweet, whatever your way out of this. You've actually got to knock on 4 million doors to turn Texas blue. Mm-hmm. And until people start dealing with that reality, we're going to be right where we are.
It's always so much fun to talk to Sean. That's why I'm so glad Scott agreed to have him on, because now I don't have to listen to it for the rest of today.
Well, but I would like to point out it's not all thunderbolts and rain over here, although right now it is. We do have some really amazing candidates running in North Texas. Evan Hunt is in Congressional District 3. Veteran. He flew B-1 bombers in Afghanistan. He's Air Force, colonel, retired, really, really wicked smart guy. Really just a stand-up man, a stand-up candidate, and he's insanely well organized. That's actually why I met with him, because I went on Ballotpedia, which is a website you should all go visit. And I was like,
I sent them my $10 donation this year.
Oh, appreciate that. Yeah. You just go on his Ballotpedia. He already has everything that usually takes 2 months for a candidate. This is early. This guy is organized like a candidate in January of the year he's running. And here we are 6-7 months out. The guy is really on his game. I love these candidates because it's already a hard push. And by the way, the votes do exist for him to win. I ran the numbers. I did a show on my channel. It's a legit race. It's the edge. You've got to work really hard to win it. Doesn't mean it can't be won. And he's the guy that I think can win it. So we've got candidates. And when I put a bunch of shows about the Texas Democratic Party chair, they've got a lot of good state candidates coming down the pipe, but they can't raise money until the legislative session's done. And then they can start raising money for the, governor, lieutenant governor, AG, railroad commissioner, which, by the way, is one of the most powerful seats elected seats in Texas.
Oh, wow.
Because keep in mind, it's really not railroad. It's gas and oil.
Oh.
So there you go. In Texas.
Anyway, let's talk about the change in the atmosphere. Taco Tuesday has a whole new meaning.
Yes, it does. He's taken taco and he's made it his own.
Yeah, and
You know?
the thing is, what the people are commenting about it in the chat. That didn't come from uh, Midas Touch or anybody. That came from Wall Street.
Wall Street dudes on the floor in the trading room.
In the trading, in the world he wants so desperately to be able to impress.
Right.
And
well, I mean, I listen to Times Radio quite a bit, and their outfit has a lot of really good people there on YouTube. They were definitely worth checking out, and they're talking about, and they talk to people all over the world, and they're just saying that America's lost so much credibility globally that when these guys go into these conferences and stuff, it's almost like a given that it's going to be an apology tour. It's just brutal right now for anyone out there trying to do good in the world. We won't know how many people in Africa are going to die because of the aid that he shut off, but it will be in the hundreds of thousands for sure. Best case scenario. Worst case scenario could be in the millions. But we won't know that until they're dead, which sucks. But that's the world that Trump wants to live in. The Trump of golden toilets and everyone down below him and him at the top of the pyramid.
For all the crap that's going on, this last week, Greenland signed a major mineral rights agreement with the EU exclusively. Right. Locked us out. And that's not good for us as a country, but it's good for us because it scrunches him, and that can change. The other one
also, I think Canada is on the edge of doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, and in Namibia, which people go, what's in Namibia? Almost all the trace minerals we need are going to come out of Namibia. The prime minister of Namibia was raised in the United States, and she went back to become the prime minister when they threw out the corrupt guy. They just had a vote, and they are completely rewriting all of their international agreements about mineral rights and extraction rights in their country. They got rid of all the ministers that were living high and mighty, and the people were starving. And those all got rewritten this week. You don't hear about that enough to understand how badly he's failing all of us, because this power of our nation was, of course, the power of our nation in that country was based on corruption. We just followed the Brits right in. But there are good things happening. And the best thing that can happen is that people are here on a Sunday morning talking about this stuff and thinking about it seriously. And no, for Ian's comment, I'm sure the person who put dogging doesn't know the Scottish definition of what dogging means. There's a lot of difference between.
I imagine something like buggering.
Yeah, something close. And Ian's our language god on the other side of the ocean. Yeah, and we do stand, well, the American people don't stand alone. I think 47 stands alone, and we're just going to have to suffer with what idiots voted for us. Of course, as Kristi Noem so sagely said, we're all going to die anyway.
Right. What a player that one is.
That's a philosophy from the top of this country.
Yeah, some of us are going to die at 45 and some of us are going to die at 85. It really depends on if you have money.
So that was Joni Ernst.
Oh, was it Joni Ernst?
Yeah, Joni Ernst, yeah.
Joni Ernst.
What a piece of work. I can't imagine her staff sitting on the side of the stage going, oh, this has added 3 extra hours a day to my work week. I mean, it's not going to be, I'm sure they're just like, we'll be cleaning that mess up forever.
Did you see her clip she made yesterday to try to do damage?
No, it wasn't even a try. It was a not even an apology.
Oh, that was bad.
Yeah. If you're looking for eternal life, find Jesus. I mean, what? I was like, great. Thank you, Joni.
Mm-hmm. Well,
yeah, no, the best thing about running Democrats when the Republicans are trying to govern is, well, they can't. So they literally can't govern. Every time they've tried, it's failed miserably. I mean, literally 07. Anyone else remember 07? Raise your hand. You know, 2020 or 2019, 2020. Anybody? Exactly. These guys
Right.
can't govern.
I've seen that.
They're better as an opposition party as opposed to a governing party.
They are run by an incredibly good ad agency that sells their story well, and people don't look at the fact nothing pays off. It's like people that buy a faulty product and then they don't ever turn it back in or force people to live with it.
Right. Yeah, they're effectively bots giving everything 5 stars when in fact it's all 1 star all the way down. It's nuts. It's nuts. So there's a whole bunch of us getting geared up. We're going to be knocking on doors. Looks like we may be starting sooner than probably ever. Well, no, not ever, because in 08, as you remember, we were
there a year before.
We were knocking on doors in
07.
The first walk for change was in June. So
June of 2007. And there's so much people could have learned from that. And that's been one of my key problems with the Democratic Party is we finally showed them how to do it and then they walked away.
Well, I'll tell you, the new TDP chair addressed exactly that issue. The TDP taking sides in primaries, which they fully did in 08.
Yeah, we had to put my daughter Casey at the Dallas County Democratic Party office because we heard people were calling in saying, how can we reach Obama's headquarters? And they said, oh, they don't have anything, but we have a Hillary person right here.
Right.
So we got that recorded, took it to the guy who was running it and said, you want the law in here? You're going to let us. And so Casey, bless her dear little soul, she sat there for 7 days till they realized we were not going to go away. And by then we had started to build our team. And
that was the largest volunteer field program in the history of Dallas County. I don't even have to check. Unless anyone else has had 6,000 volunteers floating around and that was not noticed, not likely. So yeah, no, it was absolutely legit.
Where are you going to be on June 14th, Sean?
June 14th. Oh, what am I going to be doing?
That's the big parade that Trump wants to have.
Oh, Joe, the 14th. Well, actually, a friend of mine shares his birthday, Miss Penny, and she's going to be out there protesting. I'll probably be out there right next to her.
Well, the other thing is, did you hear how Pope Leo's screwing Trump? He's going to be doing a televised message from Chicago on June 14th.
Oh, very cool.
Yes.
Yeah, Penny's been working on her sign. If Trump's a king, then I'm a queen, you know? So, yeah, because they have the same birthday. She turned lemons into lemonade on that one.
That's good. Thank you, Penny.
Do you have any connections with the Iowa Democrats?
No, most of my connections kind of begin and end in Virginia and Wisconsin, mostly. Not much in Iowa.
A little bit of Michigan.
A little bit in Michigan. Good bit in Texas. Those are kind of in Florida, but
oh god.
I just seen who's running for governor again in Iowa for the Democrats. He seems like a good guy.
I've read a little bit. I haven't had a really good chance to look at him yet, but we've actually got an actually the article in Times Magazine absolutely goes into all of the amazing candidates that we've got running for governors. And at the state level, this coming cycle, it's really, or this current cycle, because a lot of them run now and into 26. So it's been really good. And the quality and quantity, rarely do you see those two together, of candidates that we have running. And a lot of young people are running, thank God, and for seats that I think they stand a chance in, because they can talk about what's happened to them has happened to these voters, as opposed to somebody who last time, they were working a job that made under 6 figures. That was 1973. I mean, it just doesn't equate. It's not the same world. Reaganomics never trickled down, and they don't know that. So that
they trickled down. That's why we call ourselves the Brown Helmet Society. We know.
Yeah, stuff trickled down. All right. It wasn't cash.
It wasn't cash.
Sean,
so, you've got your 1 minute warning.
Okay. Well, real quick, everyone, go to my page, CLSB Politics. I've got a bunch of stuff about Texas last week, and I've got lots of good stuff like on gerrymandering and a lot of the logistics of campaigning, field programs, why they're important. And I've got playlists on all sorts of stuff. I actually started my channel because of Project 2025. So my first 15 shows were about Project 2025. So, enjoy. Ugh. But I did read all 933 pages of it, and it was a nightmare then, and it's currently a nightmare now. So it's pretty relevant.
Yeah.
But this coming week, I'm talking about the Times article that I mentioned earlier, and about the U.S. and Israel's relationship going all the way back to Lyndon Johnson as far as the military-industrial complex. So some policy and a lot of politics.
And his stuff on Israel's really firm because his somewhat co-author was a former intelligence agent with the U.S. government. That's
Jewish former
Jewish.
intelligence agents with the Navy. Yeah. So he's actually I've been sitting on this for a few months, but I really felt like it was time. And it really doesn't talk about Netanyahu all that much, although I hate that guy. Or the state itself of Israel really talks about the relationship between the military-industrial complex, all the countries around Israel, and Israel, and how it's a self-perpetuating money machine for, the guys who make weapons. So,
well, sweetie, and I can call him sweetie because I'm his mom. You're gonna go bye-bye because we've given you an extra minute and 37
appreciate
seconds.
it.
Bye-bye.
All right, talk to you guys later.
Scott, you have to do that. I can't. There he goes.
Yeah.
No. Hello, everybody.
Okay.
Now you know why when my phone looks and I see that it's Sean that's calling, I have to get in a seated position in a calm place. But thank you all for coming and listening to him.
Yeah. What did I say? Oh, all the right wingers in the cabinet were on the morning shows this morning. I seen briefly.
Mm-hmm.
He's lying, like that Russell Vogt was asked about Project 2025, and he's, oh no, it had nothing to do with anything. Yeah.
Well, it's like, did you see Stephen Miller? I saw a clip of it, him on CNN saying how they're never appointing Federalist Society judges again because now the Federalist Society judges apparently do really read law books unless they're the ones in Florida, and they're voting against him. So,
oh, thanks, Mimi.
hi, Mimi. We did have some questions at the beginning. We got one that's, I don't know, it's a policy question, but it's about what are the 3 days of darkness that everybody keeps talking about? I don't know. I just know that it may have something to do. There's two ways to look at it. The way the sun's acting up right now, it could blow away all of our connections to each other. I mean, Scott, we won't be able to talk to each other. Means I won't get phone calls from Sean. Yay! But what it also could be, and when I heard this, it stopped me in my tracks and I had to rethink it. But there are some psychics and mediums that are saying Trump's going to die and they won't tell us for 3 days and that we'll be kept in the dark. I don't know if that's true, but that could be 3 days of darkness. But what do you think 3 days of darkness means to you, Scott?
Honestly, I don't think it's a thing.
Okay. That's perfectly legitimate.
It's kind of like lore or something, the way I feel about it. When I ask, it's basically, that's the sense I get. It's not a thing.
All the explanations I hear, it says, could be. Okay. So that's the one question someone posted to my channel, and I wanted to get it out.
Okay. What's the energy around the ISRS? Are they gonna how long are they gonna continue, basically?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're not stopping.
Nope.
And we
They're
would
out of
hate-
money too, aren't they? Out of money.
What's that?
I heard that their budget, they were tight on their budget. They're looking for ways to find money.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Christy Gnome's used up all the money flying around the country and commercials and video shoots.
You know, we have to kill babies in hospitals because we don't have enough money, but Trump still golfs and they still do their thing. So let's see. Will ICE arrest continues? I'm just going to go if they're going to continue, and if it gives me a cutoff time, it does. Oh, my poor bunny cards are going to feel very abused. I'm asking a nasty question. Oh, God. I got a good. What'd you get?
I'm getting it's going to continue to cause chaos, cause hardship to people. But on the end outcome, I'm getting different leadership and it'll be stopped.
That's right. That's what I got.
So as now, the current energy past and present is just all chaos and trying to show strength and nightmares, the Ten of Swords. But in the end, I get my Sun card of hope and miracles happening, and then I have the Eight of Swords of being restricted. King of Cups is new compassionate leadership, and then Knight of Wands, better energy comes flowing through the ice and whatnot. So if 45 is still in charge and all these clowns, that's going to continue. But this is showing new compassionate leadership, so it's not what we have now. So I hope that continues.
What I got was they'll always find the money to do this. And yes, it's a very unhappy turn, 10 of Cups upside down. And this is literally the card of moving people from one place to another. But then my future cards are Temperance and the Knight of Cups, which is a complete change. So I think there's going to be a huge change in the month of June. I don't know why, but and we're in the month of June, thank God.
Yeah, we're here. So
and
there's always something about June happening.
Elon's leaving, well, theoretically. And they're already turning on him. That's the other thing is all those reports about how stoned Elon was during the election, during the campaign. All of that stuff that's coming out about Elon now, it's like he was the golden boy. They couldn't say enough nice about him. Now they're going to turn on him. And when Republicans turn on you, believe me, it's like nothing you've ever seen if you've been on their good side. So.
Oh, yeah. Debbie's mentioning, I've seen that too, that ICE was waiting for arrested a family and while they're at their court appearance.
Mm-hmm.
Why would a 10-year-old, 12-year-old boy need the plastic strips and held? Where's he gonna go?
It's just a cruelty. Did you see the argument that they're using for your judge in Wisconsin that they arrested? You know
I read her argument, basically immunity stuff.
There's another argument that came in that's an amicus brief, which is a friendly brief. And they're using the argument that Roberts used to say that Trump shouldn't be held responsible for things he does in his official capacity. They used it word for word. They've turned that whole argument back and saying, well, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. So that's really compelling because that's going to go to the Supreme Court and they're going to have to eat their words or say, oops. That's why they wrote that law, was so that they would have some way to kind of wiggle around what they knew he would do, which is why we need to get rid of the whole bench except for a few choice ones who can stay.
So, inquiring minds want to know about his black eye. Was it Stephen Miller or was it Scott Bessent? There's been reports that Treasury Secretary Bessent, whatever, was in a heated argument with Musk.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had the whole thing about Stephen Miller and his wife. So, see what the cards say. If it was Scott Bessent, that gave him a little pop.
Yeah, I've got Scott Bessent, and he kind of regrets doing it because it really pissed Trump off, but he felt he was in the right. He was feeling justice at the time.
I get justice.
And not only that, Elon swung first.
Ooh. Imagine Elon's weave of being in drugs and then getting angry and swinging.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was Bessent, not Miller, that gave him a little pop.
Oh, can you see that weasel Miller? Miller would call his chief assistant in to hit him.
Miller's a bully. He's not a fighter.
Stephen Miller, he always has given me the creeps since I first saw the first picture of him. I've never had any reason to think he wasn't as creepy as I think he is.
Yeah. No, I think Bessent behind the scenes was actually pretty darn angry at what Elon.
It's off. What time are we ending? Right at 11?
Oh, whenever.
I've got.
Are you going now or are you?
We're on now.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I had someone request. They're going to turn the microwave on, and they just want me to warn everyone that they might turn the microwave on, and it will be.
It's the ghosts.
It's the ghosts in my house.
So, what my energy's thinking in here is that the Bessent was actually pretty angry behind the scenes what he was doing.
Well, they all hate each other. They all want Daddy to love only them, and he sets that up. So,
So yeah, I think Bessent was actually telling Elon, "You need to get the hell out."
Mm-hmm. You're probably telling him you are the hell out, and probably going after some of his little doji children that he's put in places near Bessent stuff.
I kind of sense that Bessent is tired of lying.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the end, I got justice. Wanting more balance, tired of the fighting and the lies. Mm-hmm. You need to walk away. So it's all about. I think even though Bessent has been lying like crazy on media and whatnot, I think he's tired of it.
Yep.
Even though Elon is technically supposed to be leaving after the 130 or whatever, or be confirmed, but he checked out mostly a long while ago.
Well, Tesla called him home and said, "You want to have a company?"
Yeah. Stop this or you're going to be fired as CEO.
Mm-hmm. Okay, where are we going next?
And he still supposedly hasn't gotten his $60 billion in CEO bonus or whatever.
Good. Oh, he can't build another spaceship.
Did Elon Doge staff really not get paid?
No, they got paid.
Must have seen something. I seen reports there was budgeted like $7 to $8 million a month they were paying out.
Mm-hmm.
So, but in my mind, yeah, I sense they got paid. I don't see anyone unhappy of not getting paid.
No, they do not want to not pay those kids because they're kids, they're young, and they'll get pissed and go talk. So no.
Gotta pay big balls. Okay, did that.
Are they
Supposedly
doing that?
a Latino singer or whatever had his visa canceled. He had to cancel tours. Why on earth would they do that?
Just to stop to smash on the Latino community. This is when I don't get where Latinos say they vote for Trump. Are you kidding? I mean, they do this.
Yeah, that's what I was sensing. I was sensing the words start at the top.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so this is kind of like hitting the top.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a Latino artist that's you know, maybe respected or liked, you know, and it brings the fear down. You know, get ready for more raids.
Mm-hmm.
You're not welcome here, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was getting from that. Power, give them a choice, give them chaos, and leave.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the cards are saying.
Once again, God, I keep getting this card and I'm shuffling them. I get temperance and I get that in the near future. The changes are really coming to all this. Balance.
Good. Okay. Okay, we didn't think of that. Okay, energy.
Oh, I have a garden for that. I'm going to put you on the garden and show you what I threw this morning. Ta-da!
Good morning, garden.
Good morning, garden. I threw on the vibrations in the next 2 weeks for the collective. And it's almost exactly what I threw when I was doing my weeklies, which show up on Friday night. If you subscribe to my channel, you'll know they're coming. And I looked at this and I went, oh my God, and I'm going to have to go back and look at the weeklies, but this is really close. Our minds, we're seeing what we're seeing. We're open to new science to move forward, but we've had so much disinformation that we feel blinded. And so, but when you get into your body, we feel changes are happening swiftly, and we need to be. We're sensing we really need to be grounded. This is the most important stone in the thing. It's the grounding, and it's between the present and the future, and it says to us, all the gifts we have coming up to us are not yet recognized, but the values are being purified. The next 2 weeks, you're really going to see clearly how fast this is all falling apart. Our clarity, we're going to see a whole bunch of new pathways opening up to us in the next couple weeks. And our spirit is saying, thoughts of if we fall into this mind trap of falling into the disinformation, we can be misled. If we go with the water, transmutation is going to be complete. So now is the time that we keep talking about energies and what people see and say and what they tell themselves every day. If we keep working and seeing it in the better light and paying attention to things that are changing positively out there, it's going to make it a much quicker journey. Our transmutation is almost complete in this change. So this is our trial by fire. The next 2 weeks are going to be a trial by fire inside each of us. Okay. And I don't know, Scott, if I went back and looked, and we did say that Alon would be lucky if he made it to June. We saw him gone after June. Not the after effects of what he's left behind. And so I think the garden's right on.
Yeah, there's a lot of effects. Need to, takes a few months to tear it all down and probably take 18 months to build it back up.
But it's what we're tearing down is things that we needed to look at that were wrong. It's like what Sean said about wherever the Democrats been, how are they going to come back? That's really important, because the reason Trump got away with a lot of stuff he's done is because the Democrats didn't move when they had the power. And Walz, dear sweet ex-VP candidate Walz, said yesterday in South Dakota, Democrats just need to get meaner. They do.
Yeah.
We need to quit saying, oh, they're going to be reasonable. These guys aren't reasonable. So go on, Scott.
Yeah, take it. Definitely. Like I said, I thought we said before, I think the only thing they should have done differently is lock that man up.
Mm-hmm.
Stop treating me like a baby or like a decent president. He stole freaking documents. He's denied, at least tried. Prosecutors tried, denied bail. And then it was up to the judge. And you have no choice.
Well, if the Democrats had thrown their weight around and really started pitching about it, they could have stopped Amy Coney Island from being in the getting in that federal judgeship. They could have. They blocked other ones.
Yeah, it's so weird how I don't get it. Like Mitch McConnell got away with everything, and then the Democrats try, and Coney Barrett gets through. It's weird how,
because they threaten them. I mean, it really is a matter. I think there was a lot of physical feelings of people's own physical insecurities, and they should have learned after they sent them into the Congress on the 6th of January. These guys are going to stop at nothing, and so you better fight back just as hard. And I don't think they did.
Yeah. Lisa Foster said the Supreme Court helped them too. Definitely. That was ridiculous to wait 6 months on the immunity thing or the 14th Amendment, all that. But So yeah, energy. So I got the Page of Wands. So we're going to be hearing a lot of stuff here coming up. This is kind of the current energy. I think the law is going to win for the King of Swords and the Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, that's the law.
So the wheels are turning. We may not see it all, but I think the wheels are turning, especially with the courts. Moving forward after this, there's a battle coming with the Five of Swords. There's bad energy. There's bad vibes. And then the Ten of Wands is your burdens, your heavy burdens. So we got a battle, burdens, and then out of the ashes come a King of Wands. So we got some leadership coming forward throughout the ashes of this chaos. And then boom, later in the month we have
get on.
Two of Cups. We got people getting along. We have strength, rule of law, and seeking assistance from other people with the Three of Wands. Bottom of the deck comes out with the World. So we have a culmination of things. We have unity. So after the fallout comes Six of Coins. We're going to have some give and take. Feminine energy of the Three of Wands, or the Empress. The nurturer, the feminine energy. It could mean people also coming together.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be like boom, everything's great. Of course, it's going to take time because we have some Nine of Swords.
Well, everybody's afraid. We thought we were rid of this and it came back. So now I get rid of it again and it comes back. I mean, that's the nightmare scenario.
Yeah, but there's a lot of goodness coming up the end of the month.
There is.
You don't want to get the world and the wheel, strength, Empress, all those power cards in a reading if things aren't getting better.
So,
all right. Good thing. Good thing it's complete incompetence. Yeah.
that's true. But they're just as harmful.
Say what? DNC is going to spend $20 million to find out why young men are suffering.
Oh, that's that incel crap and all that stuff.
You know what? Why?
I don't know that I don't know that DNC is going to spend it, but
Why young men like
the guy that just went and blew up the fertility clinic in California.
why young men like Joe Rogan so much?
Because he's sick too. They all gather together in the same spot.
Beth is asking, has Trump been selling confidential documents on a massive scale?
Okay, I'm going to use a serious deck.
And I'm assuming intelligence, IA, has intelligence been
Well,
watching?
he has to get it to sell it, and I think he's not getting all his stuff.
I guess Tulsi Gabbard wants to make videos for the morning briefing so Trump can understand them. Fox News style instead of intelligence briefing.
Well, the word intelligence and briefing automatically leave him out. The word intelligence.
Oh, is. And is someone watching this? Okay. Basically, has he been selling confidential information? The last 4 months. 5 months.
Ooh, yes. He just been out. He's Major Cups. He's just been out singing his little heart out, selling it. He's trying to give away all the goody things he's found. Someone's watching it and is documenting it all so that we know what's been going on. And this is the future of this. 9 of Swords. Look at her weeping her little heart out at the creek. And then we're going to get most of it back, or it's been bad information that's been given to him. It's not going to end up as bad. But yeah, he's doing it. Why do you think Qatar gave him a great big airplane?
Because he requested it. It was junk.
Well, they can give him junk, but he thinks, God, I can't. Every time they show a picture of him sitting in the Oval Office and you see all of that gaudy, crappy gold leaf stuff from Michaels that you just get the gold spray paint and stick up. Okay.
So yeah. So my past position, I got 7 of Wands, 7 of Coins, and Page of Coins. Yes, he did in the past. 7 of Wands makes me feel like enemies. I have enemies. I need to ward them off. 7 of Coins would be, to me, giving out the documents. and page declines is that new stuff. Hey, here's some more stuff. Here's new road. Then current energy is star, strength, and four of cups. I think yes. The star is giving up stuff. The strength could be watching. Rule of law. Good people kind of thing. Four of cups, kind of like waiting. Sitting back in the shadows and plotting and taking notes. That's kind of feeling there. Moving forward, Emperor, Six of Coins, and Six of Swords. Couple sixes there. Ooh. Emperor Palpatine.
Mm-hmm.
Six of Coins sharing, Six of Swords getting better. Okay, the way I'm feeling that is Emperor doesn't feel like a 45 or a Putin. It feels like maybe an intelligence type authority.
Mm-hmm.
Sharing a documentation, things will get better with that Six of Swords. Outcome, I got Judgment, Queen of Swords, Rule of Law, Nine of Cups, Democrats, a party coming on, and Knight of Wands. It's telling me, yeah, it'll come out. It'll be told. Justice will happen.
Mm-hmm.
Nine of Cups is always my Democrats. Democrats successful or something like that. But I think there is something to that.
But I asked if the information that he's giving them is real, and it's Judgment turned on its head. No. The Tower turned on its head. No, because it changes. People are making decisions before it even gets out of the intelligence community, and it's being overseen by a man we'll come to know. But he's the Knight of Cups right now. He's not a prominent name, and it stops him from being the Page of Swords. It stops Trump from being effective. They're giving them lies, or they're giving them half-truths that they can't really work with.
Yeah, I think that's been going on a long time.
Yeah, I think that was happening the whole last time he was in there. So where are we going next?
Yeah, is YouTube algorithm playing a part sorting out the truth and lies?
My impression is no, because that would require a level of sophistication. They can't even keep our member numbers right.
Yeah, I don't really sense YouTube has a type of algorithm to affect like that. Because the only time algorithms work is when you're on a free opening.
Right.
Like let's say on TikTok, if you're on your For You page,
Mm-hmm.
you're getting fed randoms
Mm-hmm.
according to your algorithm or a changed algorithm. But if you're on your following, you can't choose an algorithm. You're just seeing who you're following.
Right.
And so you go to your home page. That's following and random.
Mm-hmm. I think they may, at times, there may be some, but this could be feeding people's paranoia. But I know there's one reader who says her shows, the audio disappears or fades in parts of her shows, and people keep complaining to her, your audio's not working.
Yeah, that's more a suppression.
That's more of suppression, and that's an active thing. That's a specific, not because, I mean, I know there are people who are very careful not to say certain words. I'm too old to remember them, so if you want to hear all of them and they're forbidden, I wouldn't even know if they were forbidden. So all I know is my numbers went up in the last 2 weeks considerably. I mean, by my numbers. So. Have you ever asked AI a question?
Mm-hmm.
I asked AI to draw a picture of Andre Carr holding an astrologic chart and I talking because he and I did a show last week. And and I said an astrologic chart. Now they can go find an astrologic. The chart they threw up there, I looked at it, I went, those aren't even the right symbols. So, whenever I do anything with AI, I climb all over it, because especially, to see. Now, sometimes it shocks me. It comes up with some really interesting concepts, or it sees. I had it look at. Took a picture of the garden and just sent it in and said, "What is this?" And of course, it can go find images of my garden, but it said some interesting things about the shapes and the forms. And when I questioned it, it showed how it looked at that particular shape and form. It's very interesting. So I'm of two minds about it.
Well, I've seen people talk to it using the paid version.
Mm-hmm.
It seems pretty deep as far as conversing.
I pay a $20 fee because my mind gets old and I just want fuller paragraphs. And I also do graphics with it. So I'm using a paid version.
Yeah, CC. I'm not I kind of noticed Chat GPT is kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
It will go to do things like that. I downloaded Gemini, Google's one, and it's been pretty impressive, the things I've asked.
Really?
Yeah. It's not, strayed like chat has,
Mm-hmm.
like that with the information. So I think there's some kind of hitch in that program. But the paid versions seem to be pretty intense. I follow someone on TikTok, and she talks to the paid version
Mm-hmm.
and with a voice that responds back and goes into a lot of deep questions of universe, life,
Oh yeah, some of those ones are interesting. Yeah.
our consciousness and whatnot. And it's deep. But
I
yeah,
wouldn't trust it.
I personally don't trust chat. From what I've seen, I uninstalled it. And Gemini just came out with VO3 video production. Wow, you can't even tell the difference from a real clip to what they created. The
Well, I find that emotionally disturbing. So we're gonna.
Yeah, in a year or two, they could be able to make a whole movie you wouldn't even know had actual, actors and everything do it.
Mm-hmm.
But that was pretty intense. Just seeing those. I mean, you can search on YouTube demonstrations of Gemini or Google's new VO3 movie, whatever. It'll create an eight. The free version gives you an 8-second video of what you prompted into,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks so real.
I have enough trouble finding a picture that I like. So
Jeff found an AI thumbnail maker.
Cool.
Okay. Kathy D met a guy at the Star Trek convention who programs the AI software and responses for Alexa. And anticipates anything you could ask next. Wow. Steven tried the AI astrology chart. It didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, it'll get there. once it's programmed to understand.
I don't understand. If the only thing is you have to understand how a chart's created to make, and I'm not saying that Stephen doesn't, especially when he's got a title like that. But I was born at a weird time when parts of Illinois were on daylight savings time, and part weren't when I was born. And I've had people who do my charts ask me, about the time I have, and I know it's the time. I know the time's right because my mother told me it was, and we've looked it up. But if you go to Astrocom and you put in my birth time, and it doesn't, that was the one that didn't ask for that specification. It gave me a different rising sign because it was an hour off, and I know it. I mean, that's why I go to somebody good like Dorothy Morgan or any of the astrologers that are listening to us right now. Go in, because especially if you were born in the late 40s into the early 50s, there's weird stuff that was happening to how times were recorded. Yeah, we just got a giant, huge burst from the sun that came yesterday. It's still hitting us. I was telling Scott, you have to run out and look at the northern lights. They're going to be seen in 15 states tonight if you don't have clouds. And that's really rare. And is it outside the normal? Yeah. I mean, from the shows I'm seeing. And it's triggering off a whole lot of earthquakes in the Western Pacific, west of us, like Japan. And Sean used to live in Guam, and he lived through 13 major earthquakes in 10 years. I don't like earthquakes.
Okay. Just to see what the cards may say, I grabbed the star seeds.
Mm-hmm.
From the oracle cards, it doesn't really tell me this is a bad thing. It feels like, okay, I got the weight card.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the universe, and it just says things are being woven right now. Through the solar activity, through that, it gives you the feel of it creates life. It creates energy. It creates substance.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have the weight of the world, so it's not for us to really worry about. And then called, it's time to step up. And the other three, I get earth pulsing. It's the pulse of Mother Nature.
Mm-hmm.
And then courage and lost lands. So I think this energy, you can get a sense of where we've been, where you've been. It brings the energy, it brings you life. And like you said with the northern lights or whatever, it brings nature out, brings mystery. So I really don't think solar activity really hurts anything. Yeah, it may disrupt communications and whatnot because the energy is intense, but I get the sense that's how creation happens.
Yeah.
What do
Yeah, I
you-
wrote my 3 cards. I got Knight of Cups, 4 of Cups, weighted out. 3 of Wands, bringing in new energy. And it had a reverse 5 of Pentacles, which means it's what the earth needs. It's a cleansing kind of thing. Move us on to new things. And then it's part of the planning. It's the Knight of Pentacles. It's part of how the universe plans things. It's how we're interrelated. I think it's not a bad thing right now. But it is Ariel, it is outside the normal.
Okay. Protest. Yeah, I seen. I don't know which group. If it was Washington D.C. Civil Engineering or something, but they said if they go through what they're planning,
They're
like
going to
if they
destroy.
bring tanks on the streets or whatever, minimum of $16 million to repair everything.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, protests around the country. What are they calling that again? Do you remember? There's a name going around about June 14th in the protests.
I could give you several choice ones, but I don't think they're the ones popping on it.
But yeah, anyway, people are giving it a name to try to get people to go out to the capitals and whatnot to protest. So, how is it going to go? Oh, and then, like you said, we got Pope Leo coming to Chicago.
Mm-hmm. Got Bruce Springsteen and some other guys are going to do a concert that day.
No King's Day. Thank
No
you.
Queen's Day. That's it.
Okay, how's this going to
Well,
defend your power?
yep. I got that's going to be the sun. I don't think I need to go much further than that. It's a sign clearly that America's moving on from where it is to a new place. It's not going to take seed until really in the fall.
Strange. A lot of chaotic cards I got. I'm trying to decipher and figure out what it means. It feels I'm getting a lot of tensions here.
Yeah.
Like tensions are high. We're trying to stand our ground and move forward in a better path. 5 of Swords, 7 of Wands, 6 of Swords. Next 3 are 4 of Pentacles, holding on to our power. 10 of Swords. We're in a crisis mode. And Queen of Pentacles, caring, having security, practical. And so, the throw is not giving me like joy, like this is going to bring to an end. It feels like a chaotic moment.
Now it's going to show the level of protest.
Right.
In a way that.
But it feels like there's an outside force to this. Like, it doesn't give me that feel like other protests, people going out, putting up their signs. I think there's an external force, not like people, an event. So I think there's an event coming around this time that will change the attitude or change the direction of the protesting.
Mm-hmm.
It may come from the top. Because I have new beginnings with the Fool,
Mm-hmm.
the Moon, hidden motives, illusions, and then I have 9 of Cups, wishes fulfilled. To come to be the Fool, the Moon can be the crazy card, hidden motives, sensitivity, betrayal, but then we have a celebration. So it may or may not happen, but there's an energy, something may happen, either maybe to him in the process where it's going to change the direction of the protest. But we're seeing happiness within this chaos.
Mm-hmm.
So we shall see.
Well, I asked if it was going to change the Republicans within Congress, and it shows that many are really ready to get the Six of Swords and get the hell out of here. But they just can't figure out how to do it. They could just be honest intellectually, and
That's not happening.
I know I haven't.
They still, even though they get hammered at town halls or on, you know, if they go on morning shows, they get hammered with good questions if they go in the right place,
Mm-hmm.
and they continue to lie. They're so far deep in a lie, they don't know how to get out.
Mm-hmm.
Leo. Will Leo be able to change the political landscape? Actually, yes. For those who are deeply religious, even in that Republican sector of Christian nationalism kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
I actually feel that people will take his word
Mm-hmm.
more so than in the past and actually wake some people up to where religion has gone before. You know, these Christian nationalist kind of people have been leaning evangelicals kind of thing, you know, or
Mm-hmm.
the Republicans. And those are the people that will listen to him. And I do believe an energy shift with Leo. I'm sensing that.
Well, there was an energy shift that got him elected. That's what the last pope was doing, getting rid of all the cardinals that have been covering up the sex abuse. That's why there's so many. That's why 75% of the people who voted for him have been appointed by the last pope, because the church was very quietly, certainly not fast enough for anyone caught up in that, but getting rid of that. But let's see if Leo.
You already put Opus Dei on notice.
Thank God. God, what a bunch of weirdos.
I know, right?
It's like the Klan and the church.
So yeah, I got deep down. He was heartbroken of what happened before in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Three of Swords, Queen of Swords, and the Devil. And then I had this Three of Cups, Page of Pentacles, and Six of Cups
Mm-hmm.
associated with that. So there should be no celebrating what I'm getting here. There should be no celebrating what abuses and what they've done in the past. And he wants to change that from the devil and that heartbreak. Outcome of what him being there. Temperance, Ace of Swords, and Magician.
Good.
The Knighted one. I like that Ace of Swords.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like Leo being united, but and then him having the sword there as a magician. He's got the power to make change. And that Temperance is always a good card to a little bit of time and patience. The Temperance angel will come in. So
Mm-hmm.
I think he will.
Yeah, I got that in his background. It came from a lot of giving and receiving was the background to him. And the Seven of Swords. They got rid of the thieves in the camp. They got rid of the people. Now they can get rid of all of them, but they got rid of a lot of the problems. And now he's reaping the crop of what was started then. And he's the Knight of Wands. He's the Knight of New Endeavors. And the biggest thing he's going to bring to the Catholic Church is he's going to free women. Put women in different positions and change that aspect. He had women, and women were part of the group that was they weren't voting members, but they were part of naming people.
Okay. Kind of off topic, but something triggered me to say, let's look at it.
Okay.
Demise of 45. B from the ICC, the Hague. Okay. I'm going to think of it. Will the demise of 45 come from an outside source, not from the U.S. government?
Okay.
That's the way I'm going to think about it.
Okay. Makes it. Otherwise, we have to lay 3 different readings. And
Right. Outside source, outside entity.
mhm.
How will the demise of 45?
I got yes. And I got it's what everybody's been wishing for. It's going to be a combination of everything. And I got the Queen. I've seen the Queen of Wands like 6 times today in all different decks. And it's going to bring a great sadness on the country that we got caught up in this. And it's going to take a long time to heal with what we come to learn, and we're going to have to start picking whole new values. So it's going to be a very tumultuous time, but it's going to happen.
Okay. In the past position. 6 of Swords. That's moving on in turbulent times. This is past, though. Demise of 45. Knight of Pentacles and 9 of Swords. What does that mean to me? Suffering, patience, moving. How's it? So it's kind of a patience card, but suffering. That's telling me the universe wanted us to see things play out. That's why I feel it. Even though it caused chaos and suffering,
Mm-hmm.
we needed to show the way things played out the way it played out. That's what I'm getting from that. So again, we have the Emperor, another authority figure, a strong foundation. Wheel of Fortune, destiny, movement, a turning point, life cycles, and then the 9 of Wands, defending, courage. That would suggest there is an entity of higher power helping change, helping karma. But what? Moving forward, you got the Queen of Swords, the intelligence, the rule of law, independent woman, Queen of Cups, another woman, intuitive, and then the 4 of Swords is the rest and waiting out. So feminine energy, but we got to wait out some kind of, some kind of law, like some kind of procedures, court hearings, that kind of thing. It feels like it's got to be a wait out thing. I always associate the Queen of Cups as the United States of America. So it could be just waiting things out, letting things play out the way they're supposed to. In the end, I have a union, the 2 of Cups coming again. We got partnerships, Ace of Cups, rebirth kind of feeling, happiness, beginnings. The Hermit, finding new introspection, and Queen of Pentacles again, another female energy, down to earth, generous. So, will the demise come from another entity? My sense is something is playing out that we don't know about, and there is an authority figure with that emperor. It has to do with the law. It has to do with investigations, and we just have to let it play out here because I have multiple weight cards. Hermit is a weight card. Four of Swords is a weight card. But everything will turn out okay. But I'm not sure what that entity is. I'm not seeing it getting like a distance kind of card, like the Three of Wands coming from a distance, or you know what I mean, Nancy?
Yeah.
Cards that
I think it's going to happen, and it's never going to happen in a way that's going to make the universal audience happy, but it's going to happen in a way that so that it can really happen.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I just got a hit that the Emperor isn't, like the ICC or the Hague. It's more of the structure, more of like the Constitution, or something.
Right.
It's more of like the structure system that brings them down through, investigations or lawsuits or something, right? It isn't. I never really sensed it was, the Hague or Article 4 of the NATO or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and on either the right or the left, you think they'd accept that if they came in, no matter what they said.
Right. International court has no jurisdiction in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
The Hague could, have search or warrants for arrest. They don't have to accept. Putin, Netanyahu, they got warrants for their arrest. They're still in power.
Mm-hmm. Well, whoever's looking like Putin today is.
Right. What else we got started? 132.
Mm-hmm.
Valerie. Vedic astrologer is saying in June the planets are going to have a possibility of something to do with petroleum distribution accident. Okay. Basically, will there be an oil
shortage?
Big oil shortage.
Okay.
Will there be a big oil? Will there be an oil?
Yeah, I think something's going to happen that has to do with control. That's the 4 coins. And it's going to be a tower moment. It's going to scare the pants off everybody. But then I get, no, it's put under control quickly. It allows people to really see that what a burden oil can be. And it's going to, there's a 9 of Swords reversed. It's going to take a lot of tension off. I think something's going to happen, but I don't think it's going to be at the level they're saying.
I'm not seeing anything huge. I think there's enough structure around the world to keep oil flowing no matter what. but things like this have always happened. Mechanical things break. You know, it's happened before. 6 of Cups, 5 of Wands, we got to clean up. Ace of Swords, you know, it's happened before. I do have 5 of Coins with a crap moment, so there may be a brief shortage, but we have enough supply and we call it trade routes and things moving to keep it going. In the end, I have plenty. King of Coins, Ace of Wands, Queen of Coins. There's plenty in the earth. There's plenty of movement around.
And it's going to scare the crap out of people so that they start thinking about that again.
Yeah, I think you could be right there. Bottom of the deck, I do have some dark thoughts about things. But overall, cards that drop for me are okay. Nothing huge shortage. Do you see the actual seamount volcano causing a tsunami? Where is that? Off the coast of Oregon.
Oh, that's in the Cascade Faults.
So this is a volcano in the ocean. Oregon. Seamount volcano.
I have a friend who lives out there and she talks about this occasionally.
Guys are showing me just ripples.
It's submarine volcano, Northeast Pacific, specifically in the Juan de Fucha Ridge. It's the most active volcano in that area. So we're in the right area. So we're thinking about the right thing.
There is some unpreparedness.
Yeah, they're not following that. It's so weird, whatever person you are. Today, when I was reading on the sunspots and raising volcanoes, they were saying how bad the USGS doesn't have the amount of monitors up there that they have everywhere else. So it's kind of is exactly what you said, Scott. We're not prepared if something happens there.
Yeah, Deb said it depends how big the eruption is. So, according to this, there will be an eruption with a tower. But the unpreparedness is there. But the final outcome cards are good. 9 of Cups, King of Wands, Page of Cups. And when I asked my guides to show me if this goes off, will it cause a tsunami? And it just showed me ripples.
Yeah, I see that at the end.
Well, I don't think it's going to cause a tsunami.
No. But they are, and people are aware that there's a lack of preparedness for watching that part of the world.
Yeah, but what could go wrong when you fire half your workforce to monitor these things?
I know. I was looking at the beautiful little NOAA thing about how the thing is splitting out the rays of the sun that are the photonic energy that's coming in. And I'm thinking, oh, there's not going to be anybody to draw those pretty pictures anymore.
It can also have affected the fault. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It can shake up everything. Yeah, I feel that. That's that. What is this? From what I understand, the Galactic Federation of Light has been stating that we are going to the fifth dimension and that June will be a very strong month for us.
Sure.
Um,
I talked to Dr. Gale yesterday and it did not come up. We can ask. I don't have any of my alien cards out.
you don't. I always have my alien deck.
Oh,
Oracle.
okay.
I
Scott's.
always get there.
I'm going to leave this one in Scott's
Let's
case.
see what my Oracle says. We're going, Galactic Federation is putting us into the fifth dimension. Okay. What is the Galactic Federation doing for us in June? Ooh.
Yes, Scott.
We got a monster leading us.
Oh, dear.
We got a monster leading us. There's an entity around us that is not good. And we as humans has not learned our lessons yet.
Mm.
Your prayers are being answered. Help is on the way. This could be the
Mhm.
Federation, whatever. And then I got the dark side of the universe and using protection. So I think we're not doing our own healing. You know, we're not doing our own healing. And then I got the mysteries of this universe with our choices. And then connecting with other souls.
Mhm.
This is telling me no. That we're not going into the fifth dimension yet. Help is on the way, but we haven't learned our lessons. We're not learning our lessons. We need to get rid of this guy before we can move anywhere forward. We got to stop the hate. We got to stop the chaos. We got to be one human. So we're not going in any dimension when this administration is shipping off families in ICE raids and stealing people's money through crypto and all this. So no, I think the Federation is not doing anything until we take care of ourselves. They're not going to show up until we take care of ourselves. There is that free will thing. So according to that oracle, that is incorrect.
Okay.
Okay. One more question. Then I gotta get moving for my niece's graduation. What in the starred I'd like to take Julie's question, but it mentions Linda, so I don't want to use another reader's name.
Change it. Just change it to, we can just say what it is, which is.
But unlike we would not hear.
We've said Pootie was dead for a long time.
Right. I mean, but I think there's a story with that. So I had to create a comment or something.
Okay.
Because I think, even if Pootie is alive or dead, right? I think there would be a delay, whatever, because they had to figure out what's going on, how they want to end this.
Mm-hmm.
And I truly believe that they would make him out to be like a martyr or something, not this even criminal. So they would bring him out of some story. Ukrainians killed him or something. And
Do you
I
want
think
to ask if the Russian government is going to be in place at the end of the summer?
um, okay, we'll try it this way.
Okay.
When a president or the dictator falls, will
Oh,
the
well,
announcement be delayed, and maybe the cause and effect of that?
okay.
What deck wants that one? Try this.
Ooh, Trump.
When Putin.
Yeah, I've got it's going to happen for both of them. And in Trump's case, it's going to be the men around him that are going to try to keep it hidden because they think they're so heartbroken and terrified that it's going to happen because they know what America's going to feel. And they're going to try to throw the America into a Four of Cups moment. In the case of Putin, the women of Russia will be very happy when this happens. It's actually a goal of some people that are in the government to make sure that it becomes the truth, but it's going to lead to a lot of anxiety on the part of the people in Russia because they're not sure what to do. Both ruling parties are inclined to want to do this, but they have a yes and a no, and it kind of depends on how it happens. I mean, whether it's really like one of them collapses publicly or something. Yeah.
That's Putin already.
Mm-hmm.
What I get for Putin already. He's already down.
Mm-hmm.
There's already been a plan. If the war fails and whatnot, how they're going to do it, the magician, and how to get Six of Swords, how to make it all be good.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got lies and deceit with the Seven of Swords, wishful deceit, Nine of Pentacles, and the Queen of Pentacles falls. I think this is more about legacy. They're bringing out their courage, whatever, but it will be deceitful.
Yeah.
Moving forward, you got a king and a queen,
Mm-hmm.
swords and wands, and the chariot. It makes me feel like there's planning, or the chariot makes me feel like a parade kind of feeling. There's some kind of plane crash or plane involved kind of feeling.
Well, if they take whoever's playing Putin now and crash the plane, it'll be really hard to prove. It's Putin,
right?
Because they can,
Yeah, it could be a train too. Any kind of vehicle type thing with a chariot. The Queen of Swords makes me feel like it's a dark type of plan.
Yeah, Queen of Swords are vicious. They'll come get you.
And the King of Wands created this plan, intelligence way.
Mm-hmm.
But I get it quick. Like the Knight of Swords makes me feel like a military hero.
Mm-hmm.
Something comes riding in quick. it could, maybe we're talking drones here too, because that's a big thing now. A drone comes in and boom, and our leader, the King of Pentacles, goes down. So whenever this goes down or happens, they're going to do something quick. And make it decide. It's kind of already in that plan, but it's going to be quick. And then they'll have actions that be like, what do we do? Yeah, I think it's all been planned out, how they end it all.
Yeah.
But with 45, I get the sense that this is unexpected.
Thank you, Adrian.
It feels unacceptable. Oh, thank you for the super sticker. So Putin's already feels planned. When they finally figure out, the Kremlin figures out they cannot continue this war, we're in failure. Well, then the leader must go. So this kind of already planned how they're going to do that. But 45 feels quick. Involves some kind of transportation. It feels unknown because we got the 9 of Wands with it undecided.
Maybe I'll have a crash in his golf cart.
So then you got 7 of Pentacles with work frustrations. It's like, oh, what do we do? Chaotic. Shoot, that's all I got to say about that. The mafia will cry. The people will rejoice. Yes. All right. Let's bring out better inspiration for the week.
Okay.
What do we need to know?
What's the planner for the coming week?
Crashing his new plane. It's not even safe to fly, supposedly, according to mechanics.
They know.
Okay, what do we need to know? What do we need to know for the week? Ooh. Ooh. Kind of painful with a few swords going on. 5 of Michael, 5 of swords.
5 is change.
Yeah, but it's kind of hard at that time. You're taking, you're taking outcomes or situations that you don't deserve to be in, or don't deserve the energy to take. And then it comes in with a 3 of Michael, 3 of swords. That's situations you can grow from, but they're painful. The good thing is you can release these, let them go. And then we get the 9 of Ariel, which is 9 of coins, and then we get unicorns and rainbows. Dreams are fulfilled. So whatever we get in our situation, in our lives, in the news, it doesn't serve you. You release, send love, and move on. What do you see?
What I got is I got the bluebird spirit. Isn't he pretty? And he's happiness. The spirit of the bluebird says, all is well. Say yes to life and let your doubts dissolve. Don't wait until the future. Live your life fully now. You do not need to struggle and suffer to grow. You grow by leaps and bounds and through joy. And it's you follow a sweet song of birds into the forest. You find the source of the sound. It's a tree above you, full of a flock of bluebirds. The bright color on their wings shimmer in the sunlight. Their song envelops you with a strong sense of security.
Oh,
So
Does it say what kind of bird that is?
Bluebird.
Oh, bluebird.
That's a kind of bird.
Cute.
But yeah, it's just
My Nancy's daughter bought a solar bird feeder with a camera on it.
oh cool.
So she every time a bird comes and eats, it snaps pictures.
Oh cool.
So she gets to see the birds all the time on her phone.
That's lovely.
So it was kind of cute.
That's the kind of stuff we ought to be doing more of, taking time out to appreciate the world around us and to not worry about every little time. I tell you, every time I see breaking news, what I think of when I see it now is, yes, you're breaking the news. By throwing that thing up constantly, there is no news. And go have a big order of chicken tacos.
Oh, I can't remember what she also spotted. I can't remember if it was a owl or a raccoon. There was something strange she said that got up on the.
Oh, that's well,
on the-
owl would be a bird, so it's a bird feeder. But raccoons are, yeah. I had when I was in Iowa working for Obama during the primary, we stayed with a couple and they had a bird feeder, and they couldn't keep the squirrels out of it. It was a very bad winter. It was a very lots of snow, and the squirrels just had it. There was nothing left to eat, so they were going for the bird feeder. And we'd be sitting in their breakfast room looking out at their beautiful Iowa backyard. And there were these bird feeders, and you'd see the squirrels coming. And these squirrels were blatant, man. They don't care. They knew we were watching them through the window. And Leon would go out and he'd scream and yell, and he tried everything he could. And I said, it's all wildlife. I mean, of course, I wasn't the one having to drag out bags of birdseed, but
Oops. Squirrels, yeah. I think it was a coon that climbed up on her.
it could be. I mean, raccoons like seeds too.
Yeah. But it was something she wasn't expecting to see. She wanted to see pretty bird, but it's like, whoa, what is that?
I remember I heard a woman talking once, and she'd had a bird feeder, and she had all these lovely little birds that you want to see eating out of the seeds. It was in a big open wide thing, and all of a sudden out of the sky dives some sort of bird that eats birds, and it ran down and caught it and grabbed one of the birds and dragged it off. And she said, I'm so appalled. And somebody said, you said it was a bird feeder. The other one was a bird too.
Thank you, Wheezy.
Yes.
Thank you, Diane.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Lisa, for keeping the squirrels alive.
That's right. And speaking of keeping squirrels alive, keep your friendly YouTubers alive. Go push like if you like the show. And the other thing is, if you can, after the show, type a comment in that's not in our comments thing, but oh, what a great show it was. They're counting that now. YouTube is, and whether to pass the show on and have other people see it.
Quick hit. Will be a hot summer on the east, in the east.
Yeah, I got the sun. I pulled the sun. I think it's not going to be, it's going to be difficult at times.
Generally, I don't think so.
She's in New York City.
It doesn't feel hot to me.
Okay.
It feels mild. I think it feels like the central U.S. is going to get hotter this year. And you.
No, actually, we're lining up to be a milder summer.
Well, there's something in the center.
Well, then y'all can have it. That happened before. It was really nice down here, and Y'all had the 106 and 108 degrees. That's fine. You can have those. Not that people in Wisconsin want them, nor do they necessarily have the air conditioning to handle it.
I don't know. Just some reason I'm seeing like this wave that keeps the north and somewhat of the east relatively mild, but there's this showing the centerpiece like Arkansas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Middle Illinois, that area seems hot for some reason with the winds or something. Well, Florida's always going to be high.
And
But
swampy.
reason I see like the upper east, Canada, Wisconsin, all it seems cooler as a whole. You got a whole summer to deal with.
Well,
The past Arctic blast leveling out the water temperatures.
we don't have, I don't think they make it to Texas. I don't think Arctic blasts make it here.
But it does sure seem like there's going to be a lot of hurricanes.
Yep.
What was there? 2 big ones? I mean, there was a lot, but 2 big ones damage. I feel like there's going to be 3 damaged ones.
Mm.
I think there's going to be more hurricanes.
And good luck with FEMA being in such great shape.
Yeah.
Wheezy, don't say red states are going to be feeling the heat. We always feel the heat because it's hot down here, but there are other people that live in this state other than what I'm more concerned about is, well, we'll get into this probably next week because the stories will break over the week. The new COVID that's coming.
Yeah.
And my daughter had someone that went out to a convention in Vegas for computers, and he came back and he said, my expense report's going to be late. It's because he was in the hospital with COVID. And he's not someone who'd gotten it before. So.
Yeah. Last report I seen was Taiwan has an outbreak,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people are passing. Kind of like the original strain.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of hospitalizations, a lot of sickness, and the 1% are passing.
Yep.
So be on the lookout. I think could be coming around again.
Yep. That's the one that I had a feeling about. But everybody have a lovely weekend. Go have a good party, Scott.
Yeah, family time. Thanks for joining us. Bye, Nancy.
Okay. Bye-bye.